Okay, so the first thing that I think some businesses will be going through that, I mean, a lot of these, like, obviously ours was a permanent move, and this might not apply to everyone, but a lot of the questions, some of the questions that will be coming up will be like, oh, we need to move everyone into a remote environment, i.e., send people home, but everything we need is in the office. So how do we deal with it? So one of the things that we did was we set up a ledger, which is exactly like this, basic spreadsheet, and we noted down absolutely everything in the office. And then what we did was we categorized them. So we set some stuff aside for remote allocation. This is all the stuff that was in the office. So everyone's got laptops, everyone's got various bits and pieces that are already assigned to them, but that had already been done. With the other stuff, we just listed it down and we put it into categories. We decided whether it was for sale, for remote allocation, or whether we were going to leave it. And then we set aside things like pricing, if we were going to sell bits and pieces. It's actually still a good market, by the way. If anyone is really kind of needing to offload things, I think we're just about to sell one of our old Macs for like £950 or something. We've got the offer. We just need to complete it. So, with that in mind, that was quite. It's quite good if you need to offload stuff for a bit of extra cash. And as we allocated it across, we just marked it off. Very simple, but something that I know, speaking to a couple of businesses now, they just haven't done it. They haven't necessarily thought about itemizing absolutely everything and then deciding whether it's still needed or whether you can get rid of it. Part of this is the security. So when we've remotely allocated different items, for example, as people have gone into their home offices, I guess I'm in a slightly luckier situation because I can just take whatever I need from the office. But if where my team and my colleagues had started their own, set up their own home office, they may not have had things like a lamp or fake hot plant or something that's just nice to have in their space. So this is where I think this can be quite useful for businesses making that move. This was a massive one. So this was the work from home diary that we did. When we announced to the team in Jan, we basically made it a compulsory thing that twice a day everyone had to list an AM. So in the AM and PM of the day, a diary entry, and it could be positive or negative. It didn't have to be like one positive, one negative, or it could be any combination. And what this did was allow us to understand exactly what the bits that people were struggling with were. So whether that was a case of there was really simple things like not having an extension cable long enough, or not having signal in the house, and like things that we all experience. And it was a really open conversation. So there was nothing deemed too stupid or too small, and it could be a really nice positive thing as well. So if someone did, if someone just had a great day or a great morning because they just felt good, because we had one entry in here that was like felt a bit groggy in the morning, so they just had a lay in, and obviously not having a commute allowed them just to get the extra sleep they needed to make up for the kind of disrupted evening they had. So what that looked like was this, pretty much. You can see, I mean, I wouldn't read too much into this because it's all going to be different, but you can see a lot of it's like internet dropping out, extension needs, home setup not adequate, small things like I don't have a printer, can I have a scanner? And what this really helped us do was to rethink and rework the technology we used to make best use of it, to solve that issue, or even things like timing. So, if everyone's jumping on in the morning, is that a high traffic time for the internet? And could you do a call just slightly later? So this is one thing I would definitely recommend for everyone, because it really, really helped us to, one, gather all the feedback we needed to be able to make the move and to fix issues ongoing during the transition period, but also gave our team a voice. So they never felt like they just had to bottle things up and just to get on with things. It was, but the overhead we were saving from an office and just having office costs was, so much so that obviously buying a printer is not an issue. A second screen was also a big one that came into play for us quite a bit. And then also thinking more creatively. So, do we, like, if something wasn't working, do we actually need to do that anymore? I think that was quite a big one for us as well. I think in an office, it's very easy to get together and have a meeting, and that's something that will change as a remote company. You can't just get together and have a tap on the shoulder moment. Everything needs to be really, really well communicated. So what we try and make, and we're still learning, of course, but what we try to make sure is when we want something from someone, we write it down and we make sure that it's well thought out. And often some of the small things you think you need, you don't actually need. It's a case of, because it's easy, because someone's just there and they might know the answer. It's easy to lean on that person, maybe a bit too much. And obviously it's easy to share accountability that way as well. So with the work from home diary, it was a case of like actually trying to strip back and repair some of those things. One of the things that's really important that came up as a concern from our team was the team events. Now this one is slightly, to be honest, it's not as relevant now. Of course, we can't just meet up, but I think it was worth putting the slide in because it is important. So I spoke to a lot of people from October to right the way through to March. I spoke to a lot of businesses who do this on a small scale, on a much bigger scale, and the common thing that sort of came out from it was that the thing that people miss is obviously the human interaction side. So it's really important that you always have something on the horizon to look forward to. It's the thing that people look forward to most, and they latch onto it. Your team will latch on to having an opportunity to to talk to their colleagues and stuff. Now, of course, whilst we can't do that in the physical sense now, so on the screen in front of you can see the regular things that we do. So we do end of month drinks. We all work together for an afternoon. We've got our sales meeting. We're doing 2 big retreats every 6 months, and then we have our goals meeting as well, 6WC meetings, and then other stuff as well. So everyone can always come onto this calendar and see that if they're feeling isolated or they're at home, they only have another 3, 4, 5 days to sort of worry about. Now, obviously, you can see the dates are blank because we're not quite sure at the moment. But I think from this, it's really important to still have those moments and to use things like Zoom and just literally get your team together to have a drink, every Friday, or to have a coffee break or something like that, and make it compulsory if people don't, because as much as people think they need to carry on with work, and especially now, I think managing energy is just as important as managing the business. I've seen some of my team, literally on at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and I have to say, guys, do not work tomorrow because we need you in full fitness, not half. So that led on to things we're doing now. So team challenges. One of the things we're doing now is we're doing a press up challenge. It's not compulsory, it's totally optional. So we've got, I can't remember how many people there, we've got 8 people involved. There's no prize, there's no, it's not a competition. And all we've done is we had one day where we set a benchmark, which you can see on the second column. And then every day, every working day, we jump on a call at 10:45, including today, as you'll see There's a couple of people that didn't manage to make that call. They're going to catch up for it later. And we just have a little chat, and we all do our press ups on Zoom. And it's, it's not like everyone's looking at you because everyone's doing their own press ups. And it's just a really nice way to spend time together. It's literally sub 5 minutes to do. And you can see that there is actually progress as well. You can see the average at the bottom, which we're graphing out. We're all getting stronger every day, which is good considering that we're boxed up. But what's your challenge? It could be anything. It could be a game of you could play a lot of online games. One of my friends is playing I'll share the link. I need to try and find it again, but a journey planner, and it's like a game on Google Maps. So you start somewhere, and then following the clues, you work in teams to end up at the final location. And I know that her team have really enjoyed that as a game. We haven't done that yet, but that's just one idea. There's many. So yeah, definitely. Just because you can't do things in a physical sense, make absolutely sure that there's always a virtual meeting of some sort that's not work related. Morning huddle. So we've always done. Oh no. We've always done morning huddles to start the day, and it's no different now. So we jump on a call every morning, and we go through all of the outstanding tasks that didn't get completed, and we go through all of the things that we've got on today, so that everyone's really aware of what needs to be done and what's expected of them. And then we talk about any problems or bottlenecks within the business at the same time. So it's a chance for all of us to jump on a call and to get up to speed. But really important, I think one of the things that's coming out now is, how am I going to make sure my team are productive? And I think the key thing is trust. You just got to trust that things are being done, but also making sure that that you are setting out those expectations first thing, whether that's once a week or once a day. Another really important part is to document everything. One of the biggest prohibitors to good remote work, and something that was a big decision when I was making that decision. Our processes and systems are really quite thorough, and I knew that would be an advantage now, and I think that is going to be an advantage for most businesses moving forwards. So I would encourage you to all update your systems and processes, and to make sure use video if possible. It's always easier, people can rewatch it, and also delegate that out as well. So it's not only I'm not the only one that creates a process. Everyone is responsible for their own process or their own role, and for processing that out. Monitoring results, so kind of a bit like morning huddles, but slightly different. KPIs, making sure that all of your KPIs are properly mapped out. So this is, in this case, this is what our flow looks like. Finance reports to myself, my accountant reports to myself, and then all of that information is compiled into what we call the Jedi board. Jedi board is just simply a master for our leadership team. It's kind of our master KPI tracker. We have our 6-week cycles across the team. This is our leadership team one, where any issues that come up or anything that we need to deal with, we put into here. We prioritize it based on priority, effort, and what the expected benefit is, and then make sure that we've got a balance of what's aligned, what the alignment is. So if we're too heavy on growth, for example, that's not going to work. So we make sure that it's quite well spread across all the different sort of core things that we want to improve on. And lastly, I think in terms of work, we try to remove grey areas. So on tasks, you can be in progress, you could be stuck, you could have not started, and you can be completed. But when it comes to a goal, we try to remove the grey areas. So we try to say, there is no in progress. You're either on track or you're off track. And we really make it something that our team can own. So rather than sort of judge them and say, oh, no, you're off track, that's not a problem for us. If they're off track, it just means that there's an issue there. Like, did they underestimate the time it would take? Were there any blockers? there's a million and one reasons why something could be off track, and it's more a case of being able to put your hand up and say, look, this isn't going to plan, and then we can review and adjust it. And by doing this, people are going to be much better at owning their work and the outcome that comes with it.